What's up, guys? Welcome to the Seamless Garage Podcast. My name is Stevie G. If you don't know who I am, I'm the creator of the Seamless Garage Podcast and the Seamless Garage itself. Been a master tech for 5 years now. Been in the field for over 10. It's been like really 12 years now. Graduated from UTI back in the day, and have been in this field ever since. Grew up turning wrenches. And so this podcast is literally anything automotive, anything mechanic, anything gearhead related, and modified cars for sure, right? So anything car related. So if that's your thing, stick around because we're going to get into it. And in this episode, we're really going to be talking about, I'm going to give you guys an update on what's going on in the shop. If you haven't checked out the other videos on the YouTube channel, then I'll give you a little update on what's going on and what's next and what my plans are. And then since there's been a good month or so, I would say, I'm going to go ahead and talk about Ken Block and his passing and kind of the effect it has and where we need to go from there. So without further ado, let's get into this episode. Alright, before we get into the nitty gritty of this episode, just want to say if you're a car enthusiast, you're a gearhead, you love turning wrenches, you love anything cars, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're on YouTube. If you're just on the podcast, make sure you hit over there on that follow button on Spotify and the other platforms. Find a way to follow us. That way you get notifications anytime we upload. We upload podcasts once a week. And then we have 2 other videos that we upload on YouTube. So really we have 3 videos we upload on YouTube a week. On the podcast, it's just going to be 1 episode, like I said, each week. With that being said, again, make sure you're following us. If you're on YouTube and you like this video, please like the video so that we can get on that algorithm, because there's so much good information that needs to get out there. We give out tips. If you're new to the channel, we give out tips on how to make more money as a mechanic, things you can do as a mechanic, tool choices, advice for beginners, how to take tests. We do all kind of things. And then we also talk about modified cars, trends, what's going on car news-wise. And, we have a shop of our own out here at the Seamless compound where we're building our own projects. I've got an Eagle Talon all-wheel drive with a 4G63 that I built myself that we're going to be getting out soon. And then DJ, the co-owner of Seamless, he's got a OBS Chevy that he dropped a LS1 in, and we're going to be fully building that and remodeling that completely, and that's a really good build. That's near and dear to our hearts because that was his father's. But anyway, stick around because I'm telling you, there's a lot of good content on the way. So with that being said, let's hop into it. So look, little news for the shop, man. Let's start with DJ's build real quick. So with DJ's build, right now we're at a little bit of a standstill because we're having a little bit of a transmission issue. When we throw it in the drive, it's just staying in third, I think is what it is, right? It's staying in third. It doesn't want to shift down to first. But if you manually shift it from first, second, third, it'll do the shifting for you. So it's something electronic with that 4L60. So we're getting that figured out. But on my end of things, man, we're making so much progress because I've got this. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I achieve it or not. But that's the whole point in goals, right? Is to push you. I've got this. Get the Talon off of jack stands and on the street by the 5th of March, right? So we're looking at just a couple of days extra over a month, right? From when this is recorded, anyway. To get it on the streets and get it so we can get it over to import face-off. I just want to cruise up there with my boys and enjoy it. I'm not trying to go up there and race or do any of that. That's not what it's about. I mean, the car's not even going to be show ready or anything like that. But I just want it cruise worthy so we can get up there. Again, that's a very crazy goal. See if we can get that done. It's got a lot to do by then, but we're getting it done, I'm telling you. So, engine's been dropped in. If you haven't seen that, that's on YouTube as well. got it running, got it busted off and running. I did that with starter fluid at first, and then now we've got the fuel pump on it. I've got it running with fuel. Set the fuel pressure and everything. Found some oil leaks, so we fixed those. I fixed those this weekend. I'm going to have a video on that coming out on Friday, so be on the lookout for that. And I've got a lot of stuff coming in for the battery relocate and all that stuff, so we're going to be putting all of that in. So that's the next video, is probably going to be battery relocation, how to do that, how to set it up, what to look for, all that good stuff. With that being said, we're just moving along. We're moving right on along. So I'm sure there'll be a hiccup here and there, but we're moving right on along. And the whole goal, like I said, is to get out and get cruising with my boys, and then continue to make progress. You know, obviously the build won't be over, nowhere near it. But I'd like to get where I can drive the daggum thing. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to drive my car. So, that's been the goal. I will tell you, man, that engine sounds healthy. It sounds so good. If you haven't heard it, make sure that you go to our Instagram page. The Seamless Garage is literally what it's called on Instagram. Go check that out. It shouldn't be too far down there on the content now, and you can hear it run. It sounds good. Sounds really good. Sounds healthy. Timing was good. So that's all great news, right? Like, sounds good. No damage. The reason that would be in the air a little bit is if you're new to the channel, I rebuilt that whole engine myself. Now it's just completely a stock rebuild. We just freshened it up, but I took it all the way down the block, dude. Cleaned the block out, painted the block, honed the cylinders myself. Made a video on that. New rings, the old pistons, but we did new rings. I cut them myself. Brand new rod and main bearings, lubed them up, got them in there, you know what I'm saying? Built two heads because the first head was warped, so the camshafts would not turn in it once they were torqued down. So had the second head put on, lapped the valves myself, set everything myself, springs, guides, all that good stuff, right? You know, all of that is all done myself. We did everything ourselves. And so, you know, even though I'm a very experienced mechanic, been in this a long time, it's like I was explaining to DJ, it doesn't matter how long I've been in it. The thing is, you're still going to get the jitters, especially with this engine, because it means a lot to me, right? Like, it's my personal engine. It's something I built. It's also a new platform that I've never messed with. Never messed with the 4G63 specifically. I've messed with 4 cylinders all day long, but a 4G63T specifically have never touched before. But I've got a couple of good friends that have been in DSM game for a long time that I swear by. You know what I mean? If I got any questions, I just hit them up, and they've always got the answer for me because they've been doing it a long time. So anyway, with that being said, there was a lot in the air. Like, I didn't have my doubts, but then I did. You know what I mean? You just never know. You never know with mechanical stuff, especially when you're using used parts, right? Like, it wasn't all brand new stuff. I mean, the gaskets and all the obvious stuff, right? The bearings and stuff. But I'm saying we reused the pistons, the rods, the crankshaft, obviously, stuff like that, the camshaft. So all this stuff I've never seen run before. Remember, I bought these parts from different people and I pieced it together. But it runs well, sounds good. Only time will tell, obviously. But with that being said, it was a success. If it was running, sounds good, no rattling, no knocking, nothing like that, it was a success. So we will call that a success. All right. Well, anyway, that's enough for the updates on the shop. What I really wanted to get into was the meat and potatoes of this video here, which is going to be talking about Ken Block, his impact on me, his impact on the industry, his impact on the car culture, and what we can do to continue what he started and continue moving down that road and continue to build the car culture, I guess is the best way to say it. Continue to build the car culture, continue to keep it alive, I guess is really what it is. At this point, we're just trying to keep it alive. Like, that's the reality, you know what I mean? So let's just start off with that first part. You know, with Ken Block, what he meant to me, right, is like, he was one of the first guys I looked up to in the car industry, besides the people that were around me, like my brother's dad. Like, I looked up to him because, he was a drag racer. Really how I got into performance stuff was through him. Really how I learned a lot about performance and got the knowledge that I have when it comes to performance stuff was through him. He would spend the time to explain it to me, and he didn't just go, "Well, this is just cylinder head." Like, he would explain it to me. If I asked him a question, he had an answer, and that's the way I want to be with my children, and I hope that's the way I am with you and whoever else asks. I'll give you everything I know, you know what I mean, and then I'll give you ways to find more information in other places, you know what I mean. But he taught me a lot. Talking about my brother's dad, he taught me a lot, and about performance and stuff. He's the one that got me into it. But this guy here, Kim Block, man, he was like the next thing that, like, he was like the extension, the person that I didn't know, but that I looked at and I was like, man, his lifestyle is amazing. Like, it was him and Rob Deerdeck. Really, I found him through Rob Deerdeck. You know what I mean? I was a skater at the time and stuff, but this guy was just, right when I saw the first Gymkhana, I was like, bro, this guy's on another level. And like, what is this? I was like, what kind of, is this a motorsport? Is this an art? What is this? You know what I mean? When I saw it, I was like, wow, like, that's different. You know what I mean? And not different in a bad way, like different in like, this is really cool. Like, I can see myself doing something like that. And so after that, man, my brain just went crazy. And that's actually when I decided to get into the car field. Believe it or not, like I said, I grew up around race cars my whole life, but I didn't even think about getting one. I didn't even think about getting a car. I just wanted to be able to drive, right? Like, I was into cars, like from Need for Speed and all of that, but for some reason I never like saw myself owning one. It was weird. But once this guy Kim Block, man, he came around, it was like it opened it up, and like I was part of that era of children that were in middle school / high school when he came out, that like all of a sudden all of us wanted cars, man. Like, all of us wanted cars because of this guy. Because so like there was this big flare up, right, of him, Fast and Furious, and Need for Speed, bro. That little trio right there is what blew up the car culture. That right there is what blew up the car culture for my era, anyway. And if you'll remember, that's when the 90s cars were getting affordable, right? Because we're talking like late 90s, early 2000s. So the 90s JDM cars were getting affordable, you know what I mean? That was in the Mustang and Camaro's heyday. I feel like that's when they were really starting to get some power from the factory. Your Mach 1s and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Your WS6s and all that. So anyway, it just blew up right there, bro. Like, it was like a perfect trifecta of car stuff, just car content, just right in your face. You know what I mean? So like any young boy, especially, man, was gonna see that and eat that up. And so he was part of that, man. He was part of that. And until the day he passed, he was part of it, man. I keep pointing because I got his channel up right now on my screen. He never stopped being a part of the car culture, And then, Hoonigan, he created that, and that was just a channel for car guys, man. Like, it was like your modern day Spike TV, if you know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Back in the day, that our dads and stepdads and our grandfathers and all that, that's what they watched, right? On the weekends was like Spike TV with like the different garage channels, right? But this was it for us. This was it for us as kids. So with that being said, man, that's what it means to me. Like, it was a big impact on me to get in the car scene. And so, like I said, actually, let me get back on it because I went on a tangent. Brought me to UTI is what that did. All of a sudden, and it's like I've talked about this in a few videos, guys. I don't know if y'all remember this, but I talked about this in a few videos. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, right? And then when I found Kim Block and I found, all this other car stuff, and I had friends that were in the scene, all of a sudden, boom, I knew what I wanted to do, because I was always mechanically inclined. I was always turning wrenches. I always knew about cars. Not to a crazy extent, but I knew about them, man. I could work on them. People let me work on their cars. Was always changing my own oil, all that stuff, you know what I mean? And I built bikes and all kinds of stuff. Bicycles is what I'm talking about, not motorcycles, but bicycles. I worked on my own four-wheeler. So I was always turning wrenches, and I was always mechanically inclined. People always told me that I was. But I didn't know what I wanted to do. And then it just dawned on me, boom, you're going to UTI, dude. And like, that was the whole goal, is like me and one of my really good friends, man, he was going to go for paint and body. And I went for straight up automotive, like working on them, tuning, all that stuff. And that was the whole reason I picked UTI, actually, believe it or not. I was going to go to Lincoln Tech full ride. I don't want to get too deep into this, but I was going to go to Lincoln Tech. I decided to go to UTI because Super Street and Hot Rod classes. So, boom, there's 4 classes because it's 1 and 2, right? There's Hot Rod 1 and 2, Super Street 1 and 2. There was 4 classes that all of a sudden I could get involved in performance, and I could learn performance. From a professional aspect. Again, like I said, I've been around performance my whole life, but this was finally, I could get my eyes on it, I could touch it, I could use the dyno and do tunes and load tunes and all that good stuff, and learn how to learn cam profiles and how to measure them, just all that good stuff. I learned from Hot Rod and Super Street class. So it was a good decision to go to UTI, but the whole goal was come back to East Texas area and open up a shop where it was all the way around modified, all the way around, mainly JDM stuff because that's what we're into, but all the way around. You want your performance, we got it. You want your paint and body, we got it. You want your suspension work, we got it. Like everything, we got it. We can do it for you, and we can get your car the way you want it. And doing it all while being with friends. And that was the goal, right? That was always the goal. And so it's interesting that it took me a while. I went way off course. I went way left field and ended up back. And ended up with Seamless, and now we're finally doing it. You know what I mean? We're really doing it. We're out there turning wrenches in the shop with our boys. You know what I mean? And I love it, man. Nothing like that feeling. Nothing like that feeling. Everything comes in its own time, right? Everything comes. So this guy kicked that off, man. This guy, I have to tell you, Kim Block, and really like him and a couple of my friends in Fast and Furious is what kicked it off for me, man. And that's why I'm where I'm at today. That's why I have the career I have today. That's why all of that stuff. So that's what he means to me. What does he mean to the car culture? Let's get into that. What he means to the car culture, man, is he's an icon for having fun with vehicles, man, in a different way. But he supported everything, right? He supported car shows. He supported car meets. He supported motorsports for sure, right? Especially rally and Gymkhana. That was his thing. That was those two were like his heart and soul, and he wanted to bring those. He's a big reason why rally is big as it is in the U.S. He's the one that brought the spotlight back on rally in the U.S., man. Like, we had forgot about it, slept on it. I'm sure some of you guys are out there going, we never forgot about it. But that's a small niche of you guys that enjoyed it. I love it, don't get me wrong, but I would have never known about it if it wasn't for him. So I really wouldn't even mess with rally, you know what I mean? Come to find out, some of my favorite cars were made their name in rally. The Evo, and then the DSM, my car for sure, was a rally god back in its day. So those two cars, which are my most favorite cars, were rally popular, I guess you could say. They were very popular in rally is what I'm trying to say. So anyway, so he impacted them in that way, and then Hoonigan just took it to another level. When he created Hoonigan, he took it to another level, man. He really opened the door for the car culture and the content, and I really got to take my hat off and give kudos to the guys over at Hoonigan keeping it going right now. And just trying to keep it normal and trying to keep it the same. You know what I mean? We totally understand that you guys took a break. Like, it's only normal, and it was expected for something so unexpected, right? But keep putting out the great content, man. It inspires all of us, all the different builds, the how-tos. It gives the courage, man. That's what I'm trying to do with my channel too, is encourage people to get out there and touch their cars, get out there and modify their cars and do work on them. And if they don't, that's fine. Find somebody, find a buddy, find us, find another shop, whatever. But give them your vision and let them build it for you. But there's no reason for you to not have the modified car of your dreams. You know what I mean? You just have to work for it. You just have to work for it and go towards it. And I would highly suggest not to skip out on the building process because it's so fun. That's just a great part of it. I would highly suggest not skipping out on the build process of your vehicle, just because there's just so much fun involved. No shame in it if you don't. I'm just saying there's so much fun. It's a really cool process, man. And there's something special about being able to say you built it yourself, or that you had a hand in building it. And you can also answer all the questions that the little kids and the teenagers and stuff are going to have about your car, because you touched it all yourself, and you can get into it. And they can see the passion because now you're explaining to them why you chose this part and why you did this, and you could have did this, but then you decided not to, and all the paths you went down. Like, there's a story behind that car, and each and every car has a story. So, but anyway, back to Hoonigan and stuff like that. That changed the game. Even the apparel and stuff, man. We saw that everywhere in the early 2000s. Like, everybody was wearing Ken Block 43 hats. Hoonigan stuff here, like Hoonigan stickers all over. Like, you still see it, but you know what I mean. Hoonigan stuff everywhere. Like, big impact on the car scene. I think without them, man, it would be totally different. I think there's a lot of the big YouTube channels that may not exist if it weren't for them. And I'm not saying they helped boost them, but I'm saying they were inspired by Hoonigan. That's what I think. And I bet they would agree. They would agree with me if you asked them. So just a big, like, an iconic guy lost, man. An iconic guy in our culture lost, man. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I looked at him. I did a lot of research on him. I always listen to podcasts and stuff about him. And what inspired me the most, that helped me, because I know I'm a little late into my dream and into my vision, right? I mean, I'm only 30, but I'm saying I want to do that right out of UTI, but instead I got talked out of it. That's on me, right? I shouldn't allow that to happen, but I allowed some instructors and stuff like that to talk me out of my dream, and to instead just try to go into the automotive field and make money and just make a career out of it, which is fine. Like, I love it and I enjoy it. Like, again, nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's the career I'm in right now, but I'm saying I got talked out of doing that, and so I'm just now getting into it. But what I'm saying is, he inspired me because he didn't get into rally and stuff like that until he was 36. Like, he didn't actually start being a driver until he was 36. And so that's just so inspiring. You know what I mean? He didn't have his children until later, which is similar to me. You know, I just had my first daughter. So there's a lot of similarities between him and I. He's even got a daughter that's got the same name as my daughter. So that's interesting. I didn't even know that until recently, until he passed, actually. But there's a lot of similarities that I can draw from, a lot of inspiration. Even though he's not here, I can still be inspired by his story and by his legacy. And that's what I inspire all you guys to do, is make sure you're building a legacy that people can look back on and be inspired by, and continue to drive forward and finish what you started, right? So I think that's what he. I mean, I hope that was enough, right? Like, that's what he means to it. I mean, he means everything to the car culture, so it's important. So the very last piece, right, is how can we continue to finish what he started and keep building on to the momentum that he's built? Well, the main way is going to be continuing to do what you do, continuing to build the cars, continuing to support the local car mates, continuing to support the big events, continuing to support your vendors, continuing to support your modified and your aftermarket websites and stores and things like that, continuing to go to your speed shops, continuing to get your car wrapped, continuing to get your car painted, continuing to care and love about your vehicles, and modify them. And really, it's about the community, right? So showing up to your meets, even the little Friday ones, right? The good ones. Those are really the good ones, man. Your cars and coffee. Show up to the events. Show up to the races. Like, we have to continue to support all these things, right? And that's how we continue this legacy. And then the next way is going to be producing content like I'm doing right now. Produce car content. Post your car, man. Inspire others. Post videos of your car, photo shoots, builds of it. you're doing different things to it, changing it up, just ways to inspire others to build cars. I feel like there's so many guys out there that don't want to do it. I'll tell you a little story right now. I came out of the gym early one morning because I go super early in the morning, and there was a second gen Eclipse out there, but it was just a GS, which I say just a GS, still a second gen Eclipse. I love the way they look. It had a high spoiler on it, so I thought it was a GST at the very least, right? Because the NAs didn't come with a high spoiler, but I guess somebody put it on there. Nonetheless, it's still a beautiful car. It doesn't matter what's under the hood, and that can be changed. You know what I mean? We can change that real quick. So I hopped back into the gym real quick, and there was only one guy in there, so I knew it was him. I was like, "Hey, man, is that your second gen Eclipse out there?" And he was like, "Yeah, man." And I was like, and I was stoked, right? I was like, "Man, that is awesome, bro. It's good to see another DSM in the community. I can't wait to see you out at car meets and stuff, man. Let's get it going." Like, I was trying to build a little bit of rapport with him and maybe get him involved in the community and stuff. And I was like, "Can't wait to see you out." And he's like, "Well, I don't know, man." He's like, "It's really just a commuter or whatever." And that's fine. It was a little bummer, though. You know what I mean? It was a little bummer. And I don't think somebody buys an Eclipse just to be a commuter. So I honestly just think he just wanted to be on his own or whatever. Maybe I was bothering him while I was working out. I don't know. But I was stoked, right? Anytime I see a DSM, or like, I'm sure you're the same way, whatever kind of car you got. Anytime you see a car similar to yours, you're like, "Man, I got to talk to this guy." Because you're going to have similarities, man. The rapport, like, you don't even have to see if there's rapport, right? Like, you don't even have to scope the guy out. You all have the same car. Immediately you have rapport. Immediately you have something to talk about. And it's like that with cars in general. When you see anybody with a modified car, bro, even if it's wheels, you know what I mean? Just like they put wheels in their car, so they took a little pride in their car, right? And when you hear it with a cam, or you hear it with a nice exhaust, you really know what's up then, right? Like somebody really knows what's going on. Or at the very least, they know what they bought, right? You don't just buy a car with a cam and not know what's going on. So, I mean, I guess you could, right? But anyway, that's what we got to do. We gotta continue to. I'm gonna continue to talk to people regardless of whether they are into it or not. I'm gonna continue to say, "Hey, man, is that your car? What's up with it?" Yada yada. And what's interesting is I always offer my shop to them. I always say, "Hey, man, I got a lift out there, free of charge. You want to use it? I've got tools too. I would love to come out and help you. You know what I mean? I'd love for you to come out and I'll help you." And that's what it's all about to me, like continuing to build this community. So that's what this channel's about. So we just got to keep pushing forward, guys. We got to keep coming up with good content. Keep up with the shorts and the reels and all of that on Instagram and stuff, because I love it. I love all y'all's content on your cars. It's beautiful. It's very clear that y'all have pride in your vehicles and what you've done to them. It's very clear that you love them. It's very clear that it's your passion. I don't think we're done yet, guys. I really don't. I don't know. Ken Block passed away, but I think that's just going to put wind in our sails. You know what I mean? I think it's going to push us to go, you know what? We got to finish what he started. So, with that being said, go look up the RPM Act. Don't forget to do that. Go look up the RPM Act. I don't know if you can still sign it right now. It's going to be another 4 years before we can hit that up again. But it's the only way we're going to stop them from just pushing EVs on us and stopping the speed shops, stopping the places, stopping the aftermarket warehouses and websites and all that stuff, like anything like that off-road related, right? And they're trying to stop racing in general, man. They're trying to stop gasoline and anything combustion engine wise when it comes to motorsports and stuff. Like, they're trying to shut all of that down. So it's very important that we sign that and get that going and support them as much as possible. See if we can get that fixed and get that passed and keep the bad stuff from passing, if that makes sense. We got to keep up the good fight. It is not over, nowhere near over. We're going to keep going. But let's just make sure we're doing our part, guys. But with that one being said, I hope you enjoyed it. And again, make sure you like the video. If you liked it, share it with somebody that would love the content. Make sure you subscribe so you can keep up to date. And go and hit us up on our Instagram channel at The Seamless Garage. And Appreciate y'all once again, and we'll see you on the next episode. I'm out.